How are you guys doing? Today is Friday, June 18th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to do an elite individual profile for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the elite striker from the Gabonese striker for Arsenal is turning 32, and with this episode, I plan on, of course, providing accolades, achievements, and everything that he's been able to accomplish from the moment that the spotlight struck him up into where he is right now, to give a more clear picture into an understanding as to why an Arsenal player is on the elite profile. But for real, he's one of the best soccer players in the world. And if you're not familiar with him, he's about 6'2". He's kind of skinny, but of course he's very good with his feet. Of course, he's very skilled, very talented. Of course, he's very cocky, very creative. So he's an artist with the soccer ball. And I think when he's on the right team and the right team is going, he can be he can be a very great and a very lethal player. So just looking out, just giving a little bit of background. He was originally born in France, but he grew up in Gabon. So he claimed the nation of Gabon. He would play for the French U21 team, but he would eventually switch. He would reach the national stage in 2008-2009, as he originally came up through the AC Milan youth system. In his very first season, he would play on loan at Dijon, which was at the time a Division 2 team or Ligue 2 team. But in the 34 games he played, he finished with 8 goals. So once his loan was up in 2008-2009, he would go play with Lille in 2009-2020 for his age 21 season. But right in that season, his age 20 season with Lille, he would start 14 of the 14 matches he played in a season where he finished 4th in Ligue 1, but he finished with 2 goals. After his one season at Lille, he would go on loan at Monaco for a year in 2010-2011. In 2010-2011, as a loanee, he would go on to start 17 of the 19 games he played for a Monaco team that would finish 8th or 18th in the league. They actually got relegated in 2010-2011. He'd finished with 2 goals and 2 assists in the 19 matches he played. And following his loan season at Monaco, by the way, in 2009, before his season with Lille, before he started playing in the Ligue 1, he was promoted to the Gabonese national team. And ever since, he's been playing internationally alongside them. But after his first 2 seasons in Ligue 1, he would be officially signed to Saint-Etienne, first on loan in 2011, but then he would be officially signed after his first 14 games as a loanee. In his very first season with Saint-Etienne, he would start 8 of the 14 matches that he would play, but he would finish with 2 goals on the season in his age 21 season. After that year, he would come back in his second season in Saint-Etienne, his 4th season in Ligue 1. He would start all 36 games in a season, and where Saint-Etienne would finish with the 7th best record in Ligue 1, and his scoring numbers would jump off the page. In his age 22 season, he finished with 16 goals and 7 assists, the first time he'd ever put up such numbers ever. And this was right before he would go to compete with Gabon at the Olympics. And at the Olympics, he finished with a goal in the 3 games that he played. So, of course, he's starting to make a name for himself. And following the 2012 season, he would come back to Saint-Etienne for his age 23 season in 2012-2013. And in his 3rd season with Saint-Etienne, his 5th season in Ligue 1, he would start 36 of the 37 matches he played, and he would up his goals and assist numbers by a little bit. He finished with 19 goals and 8 assists, which definitely caught the eye of a lot of people in France. So by the time he had left Saint-Etienne, he had won the French League Cup all the way back in 2013. And after establishing himself as one of the brightest young talents in France, of course, a club that's known for making it for utilizing young talents from across Europe, Borussia Dortmund caught wind of him and they signed him in 2013, 2014. For the 2013 for that season coming up, and right as soon as he made it there, they went on to win the German Super Cup. So of course that was big. That was a very wonderful season. In his very first season at Borussia Dortmund, and in his age 24 season in 2013-14, he would start 21 of the 32 matches he played. He finished with 13 goals and 4 assists in his very first Bundesliga season. In the 6 games he played in the Pokal, he scored a goal, and this was all in a season in which Dortmund finished runners-up in the Bundesliga, and they finished runners-up in the Pokal as they lost in the final, I believe, to Bayern. They lost that one 2-0, but they still went on to win the German Super Cup that season, and this is when Robert Lewandowski was the leading scorer. This was the last season in which Borussia Dortmund, or this was the last season in which Robert Lewandowski was on Dortmund before Robert Lewandowski left. So that was the 1 year they were together. Following that season, Aubameyang would come back for his second season with Dortmund. And in 2014-2015, his age 25 season, he would start 31 of the 33 games in a season where Dortmund finished with the 7th best record in the Bundesliga. Of course, they did not qualify for Champions League the next year. They did finish as runners-up in the Super Cup again, and they did win the Super Cup that year. Aubameyang was the leading scorer for the very first time in his career. He finished with 16 goals and 6 assists in the Bundesliga for the entire season. He would finish with 5 goals in the Pokal, even though they finished as runners-up. And when they played it in Champions League, he'd finish with 3 goals in the 8 matchups he played, and this was when they went on to finish in the round of 16. Or they finished in the quarterfinals, I'm sorry. That's when they lost in the quarterfinals of Champions League, the year after they were runners-up. So following that season, and he would come back for his third season in Dortmund in 2015-2016. In that year, he would start 28 of the 31 games he would play in a season in which Dortmund would finish runners-up in Germany for the second time in his 3 years being there. They would finish runners-up in the DFB Pokal final for the 3rd year in a row since he'd been there. They lost in the quarterfinals of Europa League, but Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang would up his numbers just a little bit. He would go from 16 goals to 25 goals and 5 assists in his very first season with the club. He would not be the leading scorer in Germany just yet, but of course he was establishing himself even in the Bundesliga, one of the world's top leagues, as one of the best young up-and-coming forwards. Following that season, he would come back to Dortmund for his 4th season in 2016-2017, his age 27 season. In that season, he would start 31 of 32 games in a season in which Dortmund finished with the 3rd best record in the Bundesliga. But they did go on to win the DFB Pokal, so they finally had won it with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang as a member of the team. That is the only time in which he has won the DFB Pokal ever in his soccer career. But in the 32 matches he played, he finished with 31 goals and 3 assists in those games. He won the German Bundesliga Golden Boot. At that point, he was the highest scoring international player in the Bundesliga. That record now belongs to Robert Lewandowski, but at the moment, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Robert Lewandowski's former teammate, and at the time low-key sidekick, was able to get that record before him, just to show how dynamic and amazing Aubameyang was as a talent with this team. But in addition to those goals, in the 9 games they played in Champions League, he would finish with 7 goals in those 9 games. They would end up losing in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. And following that year, Aubameyang would come back for his 5th and final season with Dortmund, which was actually cut in half because in for 2017 half of the season, he would start all 16 of the matches he played. He finished with 13 goals and 3 assists. And within that season, he would in the Pokal, he finished with 3 goals in the 1 DFB Pokal game he played. But in the middle of the season, he was signed by Arsenal for a club record fee, which was £56 million at the time. Of course, he was the most expensive player in club history. He's the most expensive Gabonese player. So just to show how valuable he was, and Arsenal is the team that he's currently on, the team that he's currently making money with, the team that he's currently that he's suffering the same fate as. So in his first half season in the Premier League, he would start 12 of the 13 matches he played, and he still finished with 10 goals and 4 assists. He had double-digit goals in the Bundesliga and in the Premier League just in that half. In 2 half seasons, which is virtually unheard of. So, of course, an incredible feat from him. 2017-18, Arsenal would finish with the 6th best record. They would finish with the one trophy they would get. They won the FA Community Shield. Alexandre Lacazette was the leading scorer, and they would finish as runners-up in the EFL Cup final. So, of course, that's another trophy that did not go into Aubameyang's trophy case because he wasn't on the team long enough. But regardless, he will come back, and for his very first season, his first full season at Arsenal in 2018-2019, in his then age 29 season, he would start 30 of the 36 games he played, and in that season, he'd finish with 22 goals and 5 assists. That's the first time he's ever scored 20 goals in a Premier League season. And in 2018-19, he actually won the Premier League Golden Boot. He's one of the very few players in the history of soccer that actually have a Golden Boot from 2 separate domestic leagues, especially 2 of the top, 5 domestic leagues. And even in that season, like I said, in 2018-19, they did not win a trophy. The closest they came, they were the runners-up in the Europa League as they lost in the final to Chelsea. Chelsea won that one 4-1. But, of course, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang had a season for the ages. Following that, he would come back for his age 30 season, his second full season at Arsenal. He would start 35 of the 36 matches he played in a season where Arsenal would finish with the 8th best record in the Premier League. They would end up winning the FA Cup final, and that would go into Aubameyang's trophy case. They would finish in the round of 32 in Europa League, but regardless, they had won the FA Cup final, and they had subsequently been knocked out in the round of 32 in Europa League. In Europa League, he finished with 3 goals in the 6 matches that he played, and in the FA Cup, in the 2 games he played, he finished with 4 goals there, showing that he is the main go-to guy at Arsenal. Even though the team around him wasn't as really good, but really wasn't there, but Aubameyang was there, and that was the second year in which he was scoring 22 goals. That transitions us into this current year, where he has started 26 of the 29 matches that he's played in this season. Of course, a season that was impacted by COVID. Of course, a season in which he was struggling with some injuries, and of course, I think he got COVID as well. He will go on to play, as I said, he started 26 of the 29 games, and then he still finished with 10 goals alongside 3 assists in the 29 games he played. Pretty much an off-season compared to the rest, but that brings us to where we are now, as Pierre Aubameyang turns 32 over the summer, and I think he's going to transition into what could be a very solid Arsenal season, or he very well could be leaving the club very soon, because it's very possible that a top club would want a player like Aubameyang, a player that has won a Golden Cup for 2 different leagues and still is not even close to out of his prime. But with that said, that's about what I got to say for him. If you ever get a chance to watch him, he wears number 14 for Arsenal. Sometimes he has something going on with his hair. But yeah, once again, I want to wish Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang a happy 32nd birthday, and I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank Football Reference, Footy Stats, Wikipedia, and just Transfermarkt, and just all these websites for giving me what I need in order to complete this profile. I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope all is well, and once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I will come back with another episode of The Elite tomorrow. And I do have another Elite individual profile, as tomorrow On Juneteenth, Jacob deGrom turns 33. With that said, thanks once again for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.